Hello, beautiful people. My name is Anastasia Hunu, and I'm so excited to share with you guys some new updates in my life and really my mindset shift and what this YouTube is going to be from here on out. If you couldn't tell, I got married. I actually have been married for 10 months now. It's been amazing. It's definitely had its ups and downs as marriage goes, especially when you didn't live together beforehand. My husband and I moved in together when we got married. So it's definitely been amazing to just like learn how to live together and really just learn more about each other, because there's so many things that you learn when you get married to someone. So it's been a beautiful thing. We ended up moving to Texas about a month ago. So now we live in a sunnier state. And when it's sunnier, it's just happier, you know? It's been wonderful to live here. We actually lived in Illinois beforehand, so it's just really different from what I'm used to. And I love it. It's been awesome. Just to share a little bit more about my mindset shift and what this YouTube channel will be. Ever since I was 12 years old, I had this mentality of just grinding, making money, making sure that I was like getting some type of income. You know, most of us have that type of energy, right? When I was 12, I was making sure I was shoveling sidewalks. And then in high school, there was many years where I had actually multiple jobs all while doing school at the same time. So ever since now, it's been just work, 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 work. And when you're living by yourself, you take up the role of being your own provider and working and working and working and working. And I was so drained. And you can kind of see my masculine type energy even that I was giving off in my old videos of just having this like getting to your goals no matter what, screw what anyone else has to say, like boss babe mentality. And this type of mentality came from a lot of personal development, listening to podcasts a lot, reading books, a lot of these things that were helping me gain mental toughness, like a lot of people call it in the self-help area. So it was a lot of that mental toughness, making sure I was like on the grind, on the move, whatever, 24/7. And that's not inherently bad. That's not bad, you know. It was good for me in that time. Like I wanted to grow in that time. But it was also bad for me in a way where when I became a wife, I was so focused on like my own personal endeavors, so focused on different things that my marriage was actually suffering for it. My personal life was suffering for it. And I'll just kind of explain. Like when I had a full-time job where I was working all these crazy hours, my home was unkept because my husband, he's also working and he pays all of our bills. So I was over here having a job, I was working hard, all these different things, but my house was a complete mess. When we came home, we were both stressed out. We both couldn't really think because our home was a disaster. And that's because I was so stressed out from working that when I came home and when he came home, we were both so tired that we were both just like, you know, let's just save the dishes for tomorrow. Let's go to bed, you know, whatever. It can be very stressful. It wasn't until being married that I started to dive into the idea of being a homemaker, something that I never really learned when I was younger. I knew the concept of a homemaker. My mother is definitely a homemaker. She does everything around the house. She's like superwoman. I don't know how she did that. I literally ask her all the time, how did you do that all my life? Because living on my own now, like even just taking care of myself, man, it was a shock. It was a shock that there's so many things to do around the house. I went into my own self-discovery and I started to just ask questions. I looked on YouTube and there's so many videos on what a homemaker is. I started to ask women in my life that are wives, you know, like, how do you do this? How do you do that? It's been absolutely beautiful to hear the different responses and see how different women live their life in their marriage. And I started to realize how beautiful it is to be a homemaker. And a homemaker is someone who is a keeper of the home, who makes the home a space that is peaceful, who brings peace to her home. I love reading Proverbs 31. It was such a big realization when I studied this chapter of the Bible. I really learned a lot about what a virtuous woman is. I have my Bible here and I have been reading this chapter of the Bible a lot, over and over again. It says, who can find a virtuous wife, for her worth is far above rubies. You guys have to read this chapter of the Bible. It's amazing. She seeks wool and flax. She willingly works with her hands. Her clothing is fine linen and purple, which is, you know, the color of royalty of this day. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. And I looked up what idleness means. Idleness is laziness. She's not lazy. And this one too, the heart of her husband safely trusts her, so he will have no lack of gain. She does him good and not evil all the days of her life. This woman is an entrepreneur as well. She considers a field and buys it. From her profits, she plants a vineyard. This chapter is absolutely beautiful. It's amazing. And it talks about how this woman operates as a godly wife. And instead of being a woman who had so much animosity towards this idea of being a stay-at-home wife while her husband works and gets all the money, I realized that that actually could be a beautiful thing. Letting my husband provide, take care of the finances so that I don't have to worry about that. And instead I can focus on creating a home that is peaceful for both of us to live in. It's not just him living, it's also me living in this space. I actually can live a beautiful life in that way. I'm not saying I don't have a job right now. I do have a job. I was able to find this incredible opportunity at my dad's company where I can work from home. So I was so excited about that. My husband supports me in either decision that I make. I decided that I'd like to work. There's a lot of trust that comes in there between a married couple, because I know a lot of women have fears in that, like, oh, what if the husband leaves and all these different things. And I gained wise counsel about this because it is something to think about. Like, what if something happens to my husband? But one thing that I realized is that God is my provider. God is my provider. God is my husband's provider. At the end of the day, no matter what, God dresses the lilies. He makes sure that the birds in the air are fed. He's gonna make sure that his daughter is fed. He's gonna make sure that his daughter is okay. In the Bible, it talks about let tomorrow's stresses be tomorrow's stresses. Basically, focus on today. Also, you know, life insurance and all that other stuff that you can talk about. But ever since I changed my mentality and I'm doing the work to become a better wife, my marriage has been absolutely beautiful. My house is peaceful. It's wonderful. I feel so good now. I'm glowing more. Like, it's just different when you have this type of peace. This YouTube is gonna be a lot about my journey as a wife, what I'm learning, you know, mistakes I made along the way, all these different things, and basically my journey as a homemaker. If you are interested in seeing more of my journey as a young wife, definitely subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be posting weekly. Hopefully some weeks it'll be more than once. My next few videos will be about my wedding. Lastly, my husband and I started a candle company recently. They're all natural, hand poured, and are absolutely beautiful. If you're interested, then just go to the link below. These are our new scents that we're launching soon, so you won't see these just yet, but just, you know, these are a fall launch and we'll be launching soon. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.